Oh yeah.
Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Oh yeah. Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah. Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah. Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah.
Hey friends, welcome back to Truth Lies Shenanigans, the live show for Wednesday, August 19th. My name is Neo, and I'll be your conductor through all the truths, the lies, and the shenanigans going on. My co-host for today's show, we have the professor at Kamala's alma mater, Lizzie.
Kamala. But hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day.
And we have our resident Canadian,
Happy
Rob
Wednesday,
B.
everyone. I hope everyone's doing well today.
All right. And the man who just celebrated 17 years of blissful marriage, East.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations, East.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
17 years. How you do that? I can't even do 17 days. How you do 17 years?
Communication.
You guys do communicate very well. You guys are really good.
And just real quick, you got to be your real self with each other. No faking.
Yeah.
If you can't be your real self around your mate, that's not the one for you.
All
like
right.
All right.
Wisdom.
For today's show, we truly have a special guest, Olympic medalist and former world champion hurdler, David Oliver will be joining us to talk about his career and the postponement of the Olympic Games. Also, for our hot topics, we'll be talking about the NHL and Boston Bruins goalie who opts out. Radio announcer accidentally uses the N-word. And of course, Michelle's vicious rebuke of 45. Now, remember, our show is live just about everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, at TLS Live Show. And as always, we love it when you join in the conversation. You can comment on any of those live feeds. We'll be listening and responding live. So, guys, this week we have the Democratic National Convention. So my question for you is simple. Are you guys watching? And what are your thoughts of the convention so far?
I'll start.
We'll go with Lizzie first.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm watching. Initially, I didn't think I would watch because I don't necessarily, leading up to any election, I don't really get into the debates anymore. I don't watch the convention. But I figure since I am a professor, since I am going to be going over some of this with my students for the fall semester in my classes, I need to be aware of the content that I'm teaching, but also for the purposes of this show. I mean, we are a show where we're asking our viewers to comment on the current state of politics in this country and what's going on. And I can't effectively do that if I'm not engaged myself. So yes, I've been on it every single night so far. So looking forward to this evening where we have Barack Obama and the vice presidential nominee, Kamala Harris.
Rob B., are you watching from Canada?
Well, I could feign technical issues at my end, or I could just admit to you that no, I have not been watching the
Okay. East, you watching?
I've been watching, and I didn't think I was going to watch Monday night, but once I realized, once you know the schedule, Michelle Obama speaking, we
had to watch, right?
We dropped everything, and it's an appointment viewing. So yeah, we were definitely watching, and then we watched last night. So we've been paying attention.
Well, we've been doing watch parties. Lizzie and I have been on there doing watch parties with everyone. So we've been definitely watching every night, and it's a lot going on. I mean, it's really heartfelt. So I think they're really trying to make the connection that Biden is about his humanity. I think that's what it's about. I think that's what this convention is about, is that they're showing the difference between Trump and Biden, and it's really about humanity. So I think it's really good so far. I mean, there's been some technical issues, but what do you expect? Kind of wish the Republicans went first, so we can see all their technical issues and fix them.
Well, I have a question very quickly for you, Neo. Then, so are we going to be doing this next week for the RNC?
We'll have to talk about that.
In the name of fairness and politics.
Sure, we'll talk. We'll have a discussion about that, and we'll see if that makes sense. All right. So if you guys have never seen our show, let me tell you what Truth Lies Shenanigans is all about. We'll be sharing our truths and opinions with you, calling out the lies out there, and pointing out all those shenanigans going on. And on the show, we always try to have some fun with shenanigans of our own. But one rule for the hosts: no cussing. And there's a $10 penalty. There's a $10 penalty if you guys are caught cussing. And if you're caught cussing 3 times in the same show,
he wrote me beautiful letters.
We'll be writing a letter on your behalf to this guy.
We fell in love.
So
East Boy. That's East Boy.
That's East Boy, that's right. The clown himself.
We're starting this again.
Yep. So yeah, Lizzie's way in the lead on the cussing, man.
You guys got to pay attention because East got away with one last week. I mean, he confessed. He got away with one last week, so we all have to pay attention. Put our listeners on.
They need to call you out. Our viewers need to keep calling him out. So, all right. So, just to let you know, that cussing pot's going to be donated to a charity. We're going to figure that out. So which charity that's going to be, and it's not going to be the Lizzie Fund. So. All right, guys, we have a very special guest today for our Truth Lies Shenanigans Spotlight. Today our spotlight is on Olympic medalist and world champion hurdler David Oliver. Welcome to the show, David.
Thanks for having me.
Got to tell you, buddy, I am honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm very honored, I got to admit.
Of course. And, I'm representing Howard University as well. And, we're very happy and very prideful and with everything that's going on positive around the university as well.
Yep. So let me introduce you to David Oliver. He's a former 110-meter hurdles champion, winning the bronze medal at the the gold medal at the World Championships in Moscow in 2013 with a time of 13 seconds. He won the bronze medal in the 2008 Olympic Games and won another bronze at the 2010 IAAF World Indoor Championships. He was an American record holder in the 110-meter hurdles. David is a 4-time U.S. champion. He has a personal best of 12.89 seconds in the 110-meter hurdles, placing him 5th all-time on the all-time list at the time he retired in 2017. And he's currently the head of the track and field program at his alma mater, Howard University. David, did I miss anything? That's quite a resume, buddy. That's quite a resume.
Nah, I mean, that pretty much covered all the bases, I think.
All right, so my first question to you is, how are you doing? How are you and your family handling the coronavirus? Has it affected your training? Has it affected your workout? I know it affected your program at Howard. How are you guys just doing?
Well, personally, it's devastating, but, it's not like, myself or staff or the program are the only people going through the COVID situation. It's negatively affected the program big time. Having the outdoor season canceled, losing our senior leadership last spring, and then, at the university making the decision to not return to campus this fall. Means that we're going to have to spend all our preparation for this 2021 indoor season. They're going to have to do it at home on their own. We have a conference championship. We have our conference championship in the third week of February. So we'll only have eyes on the group for about 6 to 7 weeks before we have to go compete for a championship. But, like I told the team and talk to them often is, you control what you can control. And, it's usually just our mindsets and our attitude and things like that. That's what we have total control over. And we'll just continue to do that. But I mean, family-wise, everything's been good. And, having a 9-year-old and, pretty much housebound for the last, I don't even know what month this is of this, but
it's been a while,
just still finding ways to, keep entertained. And with school starting back up, that's going to be a new horizon and a new challenge. But I think everybody will, we'll just adapt. I mean, we're humans. We're the most adaptable thing, kind of on earth. So we'll figure a way.
Yep. I hear you. All right. So tell us, let's get into your career. So tell us, what is it like being an Olympian? All that work leading up to that 13-second moment. I mean, what does it feel like? I mean, can you kind of describe it to us?
Well, being in the moment in the process and the build up for everything, everybody just looks at it as the Olympics, every 4-year thing. But for us, that's our career. Making the Olympics in 2008, that was just one part of the culmination of a career, that started when I graduated from Howard University in 2004. Having a pro career for those few years before that even happened, being in the moment is just like stuff that you expect. Right. When I was competing, it's just like, I'm doing well. I expect to do X, Y, and Z. And it's really not until you get done, you can really sit back and look at your career and, kind of process all of the great things that you were able to accomplish. But, being an Olympian is great. and then winning a medal as well is even better, because you go to the Olympic Games, you get fourth place. It's just you just get a tap on the back, thanks for coming, and good luck with the rest of your season. That's kind of how it works. But I mean, once you're an Olympian, you're always an Olympian, no matter what year, and it's a great honor to be able to go out there and represent the country and family, and just it's a lot of work. It's so hard to explain. Training for me started first week of October, and the season ends in September. So it's just a grueling every single day. You're by yourself. I played football at Howard University, and you have 10 other teammates that you can rely on whenever you're might not be on for that day. But in a sport like track and field, it's all on you.
On you.
And it's up to you to get it done. And that's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and it's really tough. But I think I have the perfect mindset for it.
Yeah, no question. So I watched a lot of video on you, and there was a couple of races that kind of stood out to me. So I'm gonna just show some quick videos real quick. I just
on
wanna,
the spot.
yeah, I'm gonna show some video of you real quick. All right, so, here we go. So this was a race in Shanghai.
Woo!
Magnificent run, and Liushan's going to take Oliver on this occasion. Liushan wins in Oliver's second, and Merritt in third, 13.09. And David Oliver, just for once, was all over the place, hitting hurdles everywhere.
So I picked out this one on purpose. So you came in second place there, right?
Right.
But you raced him again not long after that, right?
Like 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, and you got to see what this guy did to him.
Right there together. Liushan has a slight lead. Oliver is second. Here they come now. Oliver takes over. Here comes the final hurdle. It's David Oliver.
Dude, that was awesome. So
yeah, that was an interesting period. That at that point, I remember that race in Shanghai. That was the first time I had lost a 110-meter race in well over a year. I mean, I think that was in May 2011. The last time I think I lost a race was in September of 2009. So that was the first time I had lost, and then of course I just heard about that for every single day, pretty much from that point all the way until we raced against each other at the Prefontaine a couple weeks later. So, we were over there at his home country, and, he got the win, and I was glad that I was able to, come and, we meet again on my home country soil, and I was able to represent well for and get the win at that time.
Yeah, I saw it. It looked like I'm gonna just hold on. I want to go back to it real quick, because it looked like you put everything into this race. Like you were
absolutely
you were flawless. I want to say you were flawless. I'm gonna just play it again. I'm gonna play it again. Hold on.
Yeah, you take that L, man.
There's the start. Here's the first hurdle. Oliver and Shang right there together. Liushan has a slight lead. Oliver is second. Here they come now. Oliver takes over. Here comes the final hurdle. It's David Oliver. Liushan at the line in 12.94.
That's the fastest time in the world. And David Oliver, you think he didn't want a little bit of revenge for Shanghai? He was shell-shocked when Shang blew him away from the start in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so beautiful about the sport of track and field, man. You always get a chance to redeem yourself. But at the end of the day, unless you're like some of the most special people ever, you always take more L's than you do getting wins in the sport. And that's what I try to impart on the student athletes that I'm in charge of now is, track and field like life. You're going to take a lot of knocks, a lot of L's, but you just got to keep on rising to the occasion and, being able to step up and rise to the occasion. But it doesn't matter because, in a couple of weeks you have another race. So you got to keep it going, or, somebody else will come out there and dethrone you.
All right, Lizzie.
So let's take it back to the beginning. How does a track athlete choose to be a hurdler? What is that process like?
I really don't think anybody chooses the hurdles. I think people are just thrown into it, like myself. I got my start at Denver East High School, just kind of going out out there because my friends were on the track team and I wasn't doing anything spring sports related. But catching the 20 bus home was kind of boring, so I just went out there, joined up to the team, and was a sorry long jumper and triple jumper at the time. That's what the coach said. Put me in that at first, and I was not very good at all. My teammates nicknamed me DJ Scratch because I could never get on the board, so that was always like a running joke at that time. But we had a relay meet and shuttle hurdle relay, and I was one of the taller guys at the time, so we needed a fourth leg. And my coach Betsy Freeman Allen, she said, "Here's what we're gonna do," and I was like, "Well, what am I supposed to do with these? I mean, I've never done this before." And she told set your blocks like when you sprint and take 3 steps in between. And, we ended up doing that. And when I got done, she told me, I think you have a new event. And then from that point forward, that's all I did was run hurdles. So it wasn't even like it chose. They just, I got tossed in there and, I only did track just so I could try to get faster for football and do well in that side of things. That was always going to be it's still, my first love. But, and then here we are.
Awesome.
Is there some type of, on the team, competition between the sprinters and the hurdlers?
It's always. I think it's always competition. I can even talking with myself. We just bring it back to my training and preparation throughout my pro career. Some of my best friends were my competitors. We trained together, we lived together. And we're still great friends now. But but when we stepped to the line, we had to be competitors. But when we left, we're back friends. You can be competitors. You don't have to be rivals, though. And I think on the team now, it's more of a team environment. So the sprinters are going to root for the jumpers, who are going to root for the hurdlers, who's going to root for the throwers. So, we score points as a collective, and that's what we need to come together to do well as a team. So I don't really think there's any kind of, rivalries or things like that. But, it's probably competition within the groups because, if we have 5 or 6 sprinters, only 3 of them can travel, and compete for the university. So it's always, at practice is, you got to try to earn your spot. And, that's what is great about track and field is it's a meritocracy. The times they don't lie. If you're at practice and you're getting, 5th out of 6 people, rep after rep after rep, when that travel list comes out, it is no surprise why you do not travel. So it's hyper competitive. And that's the one thing that I love the most about the sport.
So are you jumping hurdles with your athletes? Like when they're training, are you out there?
Good question.
Them days are long gone. I go and, might do a drill or 2 here and there. But those days are long gone. I did, some reps. We were at a meet one time and, the next day I was like, whoa, my knees, hips, everything's feeling sore. So, I mean, it was time. I mean, having a pro career beyond the age of 35, which I had was, that was probably more than enough hurdling for my body.
Robbie, you got any questions?
Yeah, so you seem to have a really illustrious sports career, and that's amazing. Congratulations. I'm really blown away by your accomplishments. I'm just curious who some of your greatest inspirations are along the way outside of the athletic world.
Oh, absolutely. My greatest aspiration is always going to be my mother, Brenda Chambers. She's the one that, she was a hurdler back, at University of Colorado and high school, things like that. And, it was always the support in the corner, whether things were going well or things were going bad, it never wavered. So that's always going to just be my inspiration. So it was always her. I never really looked at, other, athletes and things like that for, as inspiration or kind of role models or anything like that personally. But I mean, of course you do like their achievements and what they can do, but I think having more of an intimate knowledge of someone is what leads them to be more kind of like role model for myself.
That's a wonderful answer.
I have another quick question. So you and I have 2 connections. We both are at Howard University, but you're from Colorado, and I went to the University of Colorado. And so Colorado has at least at that time, had a very strong track program. And so we've been talking recently about top athletes in the country choosing to go to HBCUs. So why did you choose to go to Howard
Great question.
over?
Oh, that's excellent. I mean, that's a great topic of conversation that we're hearing right now, and I'm talking to certain members of the team about it who are very intrigued with the conversation as well. For me, what led me to coming to the nation's capital and attending Howard was just research. When I was making a college decision, Howard University is very strong in Denver, Colorado. We have a big alumni base there. And, knowing the university, doing my research on the university. And, I knew I didn't want to go to school like in the rural areas or anything like that. I wanted to attend a HBCU. And, of course, it was the best, it's the best in the country. So that's where I chose to go. I wrote the university, the track department, probably 10 letters to try to start the recruiting process. And, thankfully the coach was able to kind of come out after he got the job and saw me run and offered me a scholarship. And so that it was all said and done. As soon as I got that offer, I was going to Howard right then and there. I remember the conversation that I first had with Coach Merritt, and my mom answered the phone when he called, and then she called my name, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's the coach from Howard!" And then she gave me the phone. I talked to him for it was probably at least an hour on the phone, and then when I got done, and she wanted to know, "Oh, what was he saying? What was he talking about?" I was like, "Oh, well, he's going to come out to the regional meet, and he said if he likes what he sees, he's going to offer me a scholarship." And I said, "So I know he's going to like what he sees, so I'm going to go to Howard." And then that was it. And as soon as he comes, offers me the scholarship, and then here, University of Colorado and these other places come in to, try to up offers and offer me, scholarships, things like that. But I was already dead set on going to Howard University.
Beautiful.
Nice.
East, do you have a question?
Yeah. Like in this country, in the United States, it seems like for the Olympics, for the Olympians, it's so focused on gold. Like if you don't win gold, it's a failure. Oh, that athlete's disappointed, won the silver, the bronze, or whatever. Can you speak to, once again, the hard work that it takes so that the winners of the bronze and the silver can be more celebrated? Like that's an accomplishment, I feel. But I think you already said it. Like it's an accomplishment to make the team. So could you just kind of speak to winning the bronze at the Olympics, like how happy you were, just how joyous of an event that was for you? And I have a follow-up.
Right, absolutely. That was a huge achievement. I mean, to say that, maybe silver and bronze isn't as celebrated as the gold, I mean, I guess that's everything. The winner should be the most celebrated person. But I think that within the sport and, within the confines of what we're doing, that a bronze and a silver are celebrated, just as much as, winning the gold, because, it's only 3 of those medals get passed out every 4 years. So and to be able to come home with one of those is a huge accomplishment. So I don't really think anybody downplays anything. I mean, when I came back to my room at the Village, I with my roommates, they were all there celebrating. I mean, you would have thought I won the gold medal because the way that we were all treated, myself and David Payne, the American who got the silver in that year. It was a huge celebration. So but yeah, of course, everybody wants to win. That's the name of the game. But sometimes it's just not your day, or it's not your time, or whatever it is. In athletics, timing is everything. And if you're just a little bit off on that day, there is no game 2 or game 3 or whatever, or second set to try to regroup. It's over in 13 seconds flat. 4 years, and through the prelims, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, into the finals, you have to get it right on that day. No matter if you're the world record holder, if you don't get it right on that day, sorry, thanks for coming. We'll see you in another 4 years, or probably at the World Championships the next year, but still Olympic-wise, we'll see you in another 4 years, hopefully. Because, just like for me, having a great success in 2008, I never made the Olympics again in 2012 or 2016 when I was, at the trials, because both times I got injured. In 2012 or 16, I was the fastest American and, rolling, doing well. And then in the semifinals, I was coming across the finish line and hurt my hamstring, and the finals were in I think 45 minutes or something. So there was nothing I could do. I couldn't even make the line to even start for the final race. So you think you might have opportunities after opportunities, but you just never know. You may never see that opportunity ever again.
All right, now I have a question about your current role as the director of the track and field coach. So Hampton University just left the MEAC, A&T's leaving, and my alma mater, Florida A&M, is leaving. How is that going to impact the track program at Howard?
Well, for us in the track program, I don't think that really affects us as much as it may affect other programs, because we don't really have a quote unquote conference schedule. So we really only compete against those programs at the MEAC championships. From a holistic view, I think that it's really kind of unfortunate for the conference. But a lot of programs, you have to do what you have to do in order to kind of survive in this climate. And I understand with the travel restrictions and things like that with Florida A&M and stuff, they have to do what's best for them. What I think is most important is that the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, find a couple teams and keep the ball rolling with the conference. This has been a storied conference. This is the 50th anniversary of the conference. And it's a very strong track and field conference. I mean, we're, when it comes to conferences, when we're talking on the East Coast, the MEAC is, kind of right there, probably just a notch below your SEC and stuff like that. When we're talking about the level of kids that we, send to the East Regionals or to the NCAA finals. So we're a strong track and field conference, and I think that the powers in the MEAC office will be able to replace those programs and still keep us on that same track.
All right. I have a question. We have a bunch of fantastic viewer questions, but I have one last question before we get to those. Mm-hmm. So, as you know, the fight against police brutality is raging right now. So, and many sports icons are taking a knee in protest. What are your thoughts on taking a knee? And if you were competing in the Olympics now, do you think you would take a knee if you made it to the medal stand?
I loved the knee when Colin Kaepernick was doing it, but now I think it's just become kind of more performative. And now I think when a protest is accepted, that it kind of loses its impact a little bit. Seeing the NBA and stuff it's cool, but I mean, I wish that they would have done that, a handful of years ago.
Right.
When Kaepernick was on his own and doing it. But I mean, it's great to, show signs of solidarity. And, it would be, I think that, me personally, I would want to do something that would draw some sort of attention to the plight and things that's going on right now. Knee on the medal stand, a fist, whatever it may be. I think we're going to see a lot of that next year at the Olympic Games. And, and that's great. But I think that it has become a little bit more performative than maybe impactful. And I think it would have had a larger impact in 2016, 2017, when kind of Colin Kaepernick and Kenny Stills and folks like that were kind of on their own doing it. I wish I would have seen more people doing it then.
Okay. So there's a great question from Ernest Cooper. And so how did you overcome the frustration of getting injuries?
Injuries is just kind of part of the game, and you know it going into it. So, like I said earlier, when we were talking about the COVID situation, you just control what you can control. Once you go down with an injury, it's just like coming off that great year in 2008, and you think everything's going to be fine and everything's going to be gravy for 2009 season, and I run a world leading time in May, and then I go to practice like a week later and tore my calf and the tendon that attaches it to the bone running a 200 just in training, and that was it, season over. And world championships, can't go to the USA championships and defend that title. And it was, it's rough, but, you just have to be mentally tough. And that's what I think really helped me through a lot of things was just my mentality. You know, if I could just give these kids that I coach now one thing that I possess, it would just be my mentality
So,
and the want to get it done.
so he had another question, which was really great. So, thoughts on transgender athletes competing in women events? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's really big, and you know, I think that we need to protect women's sports at at all costs. You know, I don't really know all the details that go into, to hormone therapy and things like that. But, I think that women need to their women's sports need to be protected by whoever the powers that be. And they can make the rules. I know they're way more smarter than me and make way more money than I do to make those kind of decisions. And they need to, figure out a way so that everybody can go out here and, be able to compete and represent, because that's important to everyone.
That's a question that I get asked a lot. As a sports journalist, it's a question that I get asked a lot in terms of what's my opinion on it. And I kind of feel the same way you do. I am not an expert. I don't know enough about the science behind it. However, at the same time, I do want to protect the female athletes who could presumably be competing against a biologically male athlete where they really have no shot. And so
Right.
I keep trying to tell people I need to educate myself more before I make a formal statement about it. And then there are people who ask about, Caster Semenya, and I'm like, that's a different conversation because he is not transgender. That's a completely different topic. So there's so many things that go into this conversation that I think the sport has not caught up to just yet. And so we're just going to keep having these questions over and over. But I totally agree with you. Like, I don't know. I personally do not know.
All right, we're running short
I
on
don't
time.
know either. The answers, but just protect our women athletes and their ability to go out here and represent and win and make a living, and let the powers that be, they can figure out all the rules and regulations that go along with it.
All right. So we're running short on time, so I'm going to try to get these last couple of questions because they're really good. Can you talk about the pressures of using steroids and drugs during your career, especially during that time when so many athletes were suspected of drug use? And that's from Vaughn
absolutely.
Perry.
Good question. Good question.
Absolutely. I really think that it's environmental factors that play a role into it. And it's kind of unfortunate that you see the athletes are the ones that are, kind of get dragged into it. But like myself, I went into a professional environment right out of college, and my coach, Brooks Johnson, was extremely supportive and, was not about performance enhancing drugs and things like that. His track record of, coaching for, 50 years, spoke to that. But you'd find some of these young athletes who are, might leave college after their freshman year, have an outstanding season, or sophomore year. You're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds going into an environment where a coach comes up to you, a coach who's supposed to have your best interest at heart, and saying, here's what you need to do, this in the morning, this before practice, and this at night. And you kind of just probably follow behind what they tell you to do. And I think that's where we find a lot of issues with, these athletes and performance enhancing drugs. I think that a lot of attention needs to be placed on the coaches and the agents, because, they're supposed to be the authority figures when we're talking about this. I mean, if you're, whatever the names are, if you look, there's always some sort of common denominator between them all somewhere along the lines. And, but thankfully for me, I feel like in the hurdles, there is no performance enhancing drug to, get you the technique that you need to be able to, negotiate those 10 barriers that are 42 inches high and 10 yards apart. I don't think they've invented anything to help you with that. So, that was, I feel like, the saving grace. And if you look at the event of the hurdles, I don't think we have a strong history of performance enhancing drugs. And, we're not pretty much a speed power events, pure speed, pure power events like your 100 meters, 200 meters, stuff like that. But it's unfortunate. But, Now that I'm a fan of it, of the sport, and I just kind of watch on TV, I want to see the best people out there performing. And, but that, I mean, my views and things have changed since I was competing. It's like, oh man, these people are, doing X, Y, Z, need to be, out of the events and get out of the sport and stuff like that. Now it's just entertainment to me, like everything else.
All right. This will be the last question. So this is from Dario Winter. The hard work that you were disciplined enough to put in mattered to you, as you stated. Do you find that the younger athletes understand that same concept?
Oh man, it's hard to say. I mean, I deal with some that do, and I deal with others that do not. But the thing that you have to realize is that when you're dealing with 18 to 21-year-old young adults, they're not on the same quest as say somebody that's on the elite level. I tried to handle myself like I was on the elite level or something like that, even in college. But that still didn't stop me from doing dumb stuff and making boneheaded mistakes. Hell, I got kicked off the team my sophomore year because I missed practice 2 days. And I was the conference champion in the hurdle event. So, I mean, you're talking about young, immature people, and, I think some do understand. But like I tell them, you don't come to college to be a 2.0 student. Don't be a 2.0 athlete either. Just try to give everything you got and just let the chips fall where they may. Everybody's not meant to be an All-American. Everybody's not meant to be a conference champion. Success is different for all the student athletes that I coach, but they'll all be successful at something along the line.
And I do have to throw in this one last question. So do you drink milk? This is from my sister. That's why I'm throwing it in. Do you drink milk? The commercials growing up said drink milk. So was that something that you did growing up?
I mean, yeah, when I ate cereal. I used to put milk with my protein shakes or whatever, and I drink those, but then I switched over to just putting water in those as well. So I don't think I was too much of a milk drinker outside of putting it with my cereal.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do want to thank you for joining us, David. I'm gonna see you on Saturday. I hope. Some boxing. David and I take a boxing class together at Posh Cycling and Fitness. Posh.fit. Another shameless plug. Check out Posh Cycling and Fitness. Posh.fit. But
also,
David,
school starts Monday, so I think I'll have some of your athletes in my classes starting on Monday. So yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a interesting adventure for us all to see how things go again. We had a dry run in the spring, so hopefully it'll be pretty seamless this fall.
Yeah. So you're not doing any track and field this season, right?
Well, the fall they'll be training at home. The ones that are local will still get together and do training, but we're talking about a handful of student athletes compared to the 60 or so that are on the team. So most of them are unable to travel back. Yep. Unfortunately, the university had to make that call, with everything in the city. I mean, everybody answers to everybody. So we can have all the plans in the world, but if, the big bosses come in and, kind of shut things down, and so be it, you just got to follow along.
Well, David, we'd love to have you back just for maybe just a regular show one day, just to have you come back and talk to us. I know you love hockey, so maybe one of those shows will bring you back if you'd like to come back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this was very enjoyable. Great conversation and great conversing with you guys.
All right. Thank you so much, David.
Thanks, David. Thank you. Man.
All right, guys.
Woo! That's incredible.
Another great guest. David was good, huh?
Yeah, really good, really good. And again, when and this is what I try to import on my students in terms of when they are doing interviews or when they are preparing for a paper, you have to do your research. And so when you said David Oliver, he's going to be on the show, I'm like, okay, yeah, Olympian, world champion, whatever. I didn't know all of the connections that we had until I started to do research. So I think that that's a lesson for everybody. Like every topic, everything that you take on, you have to do your research before you come to the table.
Yep. All right, guys. So we're going to have to go really quickly through our hot topics. All right. So this is how the hot topics works. Each host comes with hot topics they want to discuss, mostly based on discussions with you, the viewers, online on our Facebook page. I'll pick one of the hosts to start us off. They'll tell us what's going on, ask a question to the other co-hosts, and we'll start the timer for the discussion. Once time is up, you'll see Genji. All right, and we'll end the conversation and move on to the next host and talk about whatever they want. And viewers, remember your comments and questions always help drive the conversation, so comment away. So today, let's start with Rob B.
All right. So the topic that I selected is, well, hockey related, but kind of accidental. But yes, my Bruins are in the playoffs. I'm very happy. And they've now advanced to the second round. But earlier in the week, their starting goalie, Tuukka Rask, made an announcement that he was opting out of the tournament for personal reasons, to be with his family. He didn't divulge any family issues, any family emergencies, simply a desire to be with his family at this time. So I wanted to bring this forward just because these players are in a bubble. They're absolutely being taken care of. They're getting, their needs are being met. They're doing what they love to do. But it takes a mental toll on people over time. I know that Tuukka's received a lot of hate over this, a lot of fan ire. And I just wanted to ask my co-hosts what they thought about this move and if this is something you think that we're going to see out of more bubbles.
Go ahead, Lizzie.
It's interesting because I think we've seen it mostly in players and in leagues that aren't in the bubble. Like there have been several NFL players, and the NFL does not have a bubble, several NFL players who have opted out of this season for various reasons, but mostly because they are hesitant to come back without a bubble in a COVID environment. We've seen Major League Baseball players who also weren't necessarily in a bubble going into the season who have opted out, especially since a lot of teams, a few teams have had to shut down or, postpone games because there have been outbreaks on their teams. And then certain players have been like, okay, I'm opting out. This is not good for me. I think, like you said, Tuukka is the first player in a bubble situation to say, I still don't trust this process. And I think what it's going to take probably, unfortunately, and we hope it doesn't happen, is that first person in the bubble, who has not been outside of the bubble for a few weeks, at this point for a few months, whether it be a actual player or someone on the staff, someone a part of the team administration, who test positive, then that's when all hell is going to break loose. Because then the idea of the bubble no longer makes sense. Because where did this person contract COVID? But I do think, I think it's very admirable of him, to say, I think we need a little bit more time to do this. And like you said, the Bruins just advanced. And he's their goalkeeper. They just advance. He's their goalkeeper, and yet he's choosing. He's like, I can't risk this.
Well, was his reason? Was his reason because of the he was scared of COVID? I don't think he gave that reason, did he?
No. His reason was that he wanted to be with his family.
Yeah, he didn't say he was scared of COVID or he didn't trust the bubble or anything like that. I think he just wanted. It's not even clear. I mean, I read a couple of articles. It's not even really clear why he wanted to quit.
But that begs the question, though, like outside of the bubble, because when you're in the bubble, you can't see your family. So presumably he has not seen his family for weeks at this point.
Yeah.
Outside of the bubble, even if there was some issue with the family, if a family member was injured or had an illness or something, he would be able to go back and forth.
Yeah.
But with implementation of the bubble, he can't even do that.
Right.
So I think it indirectly, secondhandly affects what's going on with these players. And even if he were to leave the bubble and go address this situation and come back, he would still have to do a minimum, I think, 10-day quarantine. So it's a lot. It's a lot to consider.
East?
It's a lot to consider. East?
Yeah, and I think the issue with professional athletes is that fans, media, they just expect them to just play, just kind of soldier through it. I think people believe that athletes can just differentiate between this is my job, I'm gonna do my job, and I'll sacrifice my family now. And you have these athletes, I mean, they're real people. Like he might have, I don't know how close he is to his family. I understand he has some kids, or 2 or 3 kids. Maybe he likes being a dad. Maybe he misses that aspect. Maybe that helped him perform his job, is that interaction with his family. And because that's been excised from his routine, maybe he just said, you know what, forget it. I'll just stay at home and be with my family. I think what might have caught a lot of people off guard is the fact that these are the playoffs. They did advance. And I think that most people would figure, just soldier through it. Wait till you get eliminated or win the Stanley Cup, whatever comes first. And you know, but I think most people just discount, you know, that's a long time not seeing your family. Like, you know, just me speaking, just for my family, like, for me, just for me being unable to see my kids and my family, like, I don't know,
Right.
like, that's, yeah, I can't do it.
Robbie, did you have any comments on that?
I like the commentary so far. I really am enjoying it, and that's to me. I'm with Liz. I applaud Tuga for making that personal decision, and for not getting into great detail about it, because he's under no obligation to divulge anything about his personal life, his family life. I find that the media and the fans really have this entitlement that they can openly criticize another person without really knowing anything about his situation. Like he said, I mean, if you love your wife and your kids, being away even for a weekend is just something that eats away at you. So I can't imagine after a couple of weeks, I can see where some of the younger players who don't have those relationships might be able to thrive, but someone who's seasoned, someone who has those connections, it could form its motivator. East, I really like that take on it too. Neil,
I think
last words?
I think I would be like, I think I could see the issue with not being able to see your family, or especially if you have young kids and things like that. I could see that being an issue, and at some point that taking a toll.
Has there been any negative feedback so far?
Oh, there's been tons of hate online for him, but that's, I hope he can filter it out. I really hope he does filter it out.
All right. So a couple of quick comments online. Ernest Cooper agreed with East. I love it when folks sitting on the couch or at the bar complain about the lack of discipline of world-class athletes. Like Winter said, he's out there playing hockey and has no clue about what's going on with his family. Someone could be sick. I don't know, but it has to be tough mentally. So definitely agree with that one. All right. Let's move on to East.
East. Nor'easter.
Oh, it's
All
Truth
right.
Lies or Shenanigans.
Oh, that's right. Oh, there was some truth telling going on Monday night. Definite truth.
All right.
And I've made reference to this earlier. Michelle Obama spoke at the Democratic National Convention Monday night. And since we don't have a lot of time, she said it. Trump, 45, he's not up for the job. He's not the right man at this time. So I believe we have video.
We do.
I am one of a handful of people living today who have seen firsthand the immense weight and awesome power of the presidency. And let me once again tell you this: the job is hard. It requires clear-headed judgment, a mastery of complex and competing issues, a devotion to facts and history, a moral compass, and an ability to listen, and an abiding belief that each of the 330 million lives in this country has meaning and worth. You simply cannot fake your way through this job. As I've said before, being president doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. A never-ending list of innocent people of color continue to be murdered, stating the simple fact that a Black life matters is still met with derision from the nation's highest office. So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is. So if you take one thing from my words tonight, it is this. If you think things cannot possibly get worse, trust me, they can and they will if we don't make a change in this election. If we have any hope of ending this chaos, we have got to vote for Joe Biden like our lives depend on it.
Yeah, straightforward. I mean, it's a hard job. It requires thinking. It requires taking in knowledge and caring about other people and having empathy. You can't do it.
She pulled no punches.
My question for the panel is, do you think Michelle Obama's speech will reverberate with all Americans? Because she was actually speaking to everyone. We could start, but let's start with the Canadian, because
before the Canadian starts, I want to I want to just point out one thing that it's a funny comment from Vaughn Perry. He said you can catch this speech again next week at the Republican convention when Melania Trump talks.
Perry got that from me earlier this week. Let the record show.
Go ahead, Robbie.
You know, Melania.
Will the message reverberate?
Earlier.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Melania plagiarized Michelle Obama's speech back in 2016, and so that's where
almost word for word. It was ridiculous.
It was when she said, when you know that your word is bond. I'm like, okay, this is this woman's second language. And that word is bond is a colloquial term in the United States. It's a term that rappers use. Melania did not pick that up on her own. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Robbie.
Will it reverberate with all Americans? Unfortunately not. Just with all of the upheaval and the disagreement that we're seeing currently, there's a lot of really learned people, a lot of motivational people, a lot of intelligent people who have come forth and denounced certain behaviors, who have tried to counsel the populace, who have tried to counsel the president. And unfortunately, I wish that the message would reverberate with all Americans, but for those who are willing to listen to this message, it's powerful. And I really hope you guys get it right in November.
All right, I'll jump in here and I'll let Lizzie kind of close it out. So, there was a portion of that speech that I kind of left out where she was saying, "I get it. I know some people are not going to hear what I'm saying," and she's right. There's a group of, because she's like, she even said, I'm a Black woman at the Democratic National Convention, and some of you guys just aren't going to hear me, And so, and that's a shame, to be honest with you, because she is, speaking truth. And if you look at, I was watching Fox News again, as I tend to do, just to check to see what they're saying. I need to know and understand what is happening over there. And I was actually surprised there were some. They were actually talking positively. Some of them were talking positively about Michelle Obama's speech. So I was surprised at that. Lizzie?
I think that they were speaking because I posted that on our site as well as like a, true sign of the apocalypse. People at Fox News are lauding, are applauding, not necessarily applauding, but giving Michelle Obama her props for the speech that she delivered. And I think because they recognize good strategy. It's not necessarily because they believe in what the message that
True.
Obama delivered. It's because it's good strategy and it's something that they would have done. But as it relates to, do I think it will reverberate? No. One, the people that it needs to resonate with aren't watching Michelle Obama and the DNC convention, first and foremost.
But they'll see the clips.
No, they won't. No, they won't. I think that there's a certain segment of the population that only watches Fox News.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Watches conservative news. And so, and then you have the people that are kind of on the fence.
See, because I feel like those people are lost to reason anyway. They're lost to reason. So,
but the people that are on the fence, I think, if in 2020, almost 4 years later, we still have to kind of pull you in. Mm-hmm. You're still on the fence. You're still vacillating about whether or not you should be over here with Trump or you should be over here against Trump and everything that he's done, then there's no hope. Maybe hope for a small few, but we're talking about, and she said he's not ready for this. He's shown it over and over with his narcissism, his lack of empathy, his petulance, his ability to use his words to be nasty to people. And so if they haven't gotten it by now, then no, I don't think it's going to reverberate for that particular crowd.
Well, I mean,
they
yeah. I mean, if you look at it, they are there is. I don't think the Democratic National Convention is going for those people. They're not even trying to reach those people. It's really, and if you look at it, they're not even trying to deal with the progressives right now. They're really going after the moderates and the moderate Republicans and the moderate Democrats. They're not, and the independents, but they're not even going. Anybody who's on the other end of the spectrum, they're pretty much ignoring right now.
I'm just going to throw this in there. Their missed opportunity with, one of the head progressives in Congress right now is AOC, and how they totally missed the opportunity.
I think so too, actually.
In the Democratic National Convention last night, where they had her simply saying in the roll call saying that she, stands for she stands for Bernie Sanders. That would have been a perfect opportunity for her to bring in her incident of being accosted on the steps of the Capitol by a fellow congressman and how that relates to the Trump level of politics. But yet they just gave her 90 seconds to, hype up Bernie. Like, I don't think we have gotten to that point yet. We are reaching out to progressives.
Yeah. East, if you want to make some last comments, you can go ahead.
No, just to your point, they're just trying to drive up voter turnout. Yeah. They don't want a repeat of 2016 where a lot of African Americans allegedly didn't come out to vote in Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Detroit. They're trying to shore up the base.
Yep. So most people online were agreeing. Being president requires leadership. So they had some people are going to choose not to hear her, and to their own detriment, which is very sad. That's from Z. Yeah. Ernest Cooper says the necklace Michelle Obama wore, vote, is a Black-owned business.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Mike Winter says they won't see it. And then Vaughn Perry agreed with AOC. Otherwise, they would have given AOC more shine. All right. So let's move on, Lizzie, to our final hot topic. Is this a truth, lie, or shenanigans?
I think it's a shenanigan. maybe some truth in there, but it depends on your inner truth. So the question becomes, is it possible to mistakenly use a racial slur in 20? So we have a Hornets broadcaster, Mr. John Fox, who was suspended indefinitely over the other day because he accidentally tweeted this. See, we didn't even want to post it because it's so offensive.
Yeah, the computer just was like, no, can't show this.
Look at the bottom level of that tweet from John Fox. And so my question is, like, one, how do you get the N-word out of nuggets, first of all? Like, remember, Rob, in a couple of shows ago when we were talking about there was an issue with Canada, and you and I were going back and forth, discussing that particular issue. I think it was with the tariffs, if I'm not mistaken, but might have been something else. But we're saying Canada, Canada, Canada. And so I said something about Canadians. And then in that conversation, I said maybe 2 or 3 times, Canada. Which is right?
Yeah,
that has a point of reference. One, it's not offensive, but 2, because we were saying Canada and Canadians all back and forth. And so I got kind of tongue-tied a little bit. But how do you get tongue-tied or even keyboard-tied between nuggets and the N-word? So that's my question to you all. Like, are we believing these accidental slurs that keep coming up over and over again? Remember, we had the weather guy who like maybe last year or the year before, he accidentally in his weather delivery said the N-word. And so my question, like, are these accidents? Are these subconscious things that are like pushing up to the surface? Like, what's going on?
Like, by the way, Kevin Thaxton, you really need to stop making me laugh in the middle of the conversation. And I don't appreciate that because he's talking about with the hard R. All right. All right, I'm going to say Robbie for last on purpose. So, East, go ahead.
I was thinking about this. Some devices have autocorrect, right? So if you type a certain word, a lot of times, it'll autocorrect to that word. So I think John Fox types the word a lot to the point where he probably, I think he typed nuggets, but he types the N-word so often
that it just came up. I mean, you have to you literally have to whenever you have those autocorrects for words that are cuss words or inflammatory words, you have to accept it. You have to yes, this is what I want to type. You have to be yes, I like this word. This is what I want to use. Because I know when I have my cuss words, it won't accept it. For autocorrect won't accept it at first. But if I want to say a cuss word, which I won't repeat on the show because I don't want to pay $10, I have to actually make it and then say accept.
Right. Yeah.
Also, too, I think Z just pointed out, the how our certain words, come up, certain letters come up very often when we are typing. But you have to look at the 2 words that we're talking about here. Nuggets and the N-word are not, they're not, never in my life have I typed in nuggets, and it auto-corrected to the N-word. I don't even know, because I did it afterwards. I'm like, okay, well, let me just see. Maybe let me type in nugget. It never won. Never
that doesn't
won.
happen to you? I mean, come on, every day, right?
I just, and I'm not saying this, to avoid any type of racism, but it begs the question, like he said, well, why do you have the N-word set in your phone, in the vernacular of your phone, to the point where it will automatically autocorrect to that? Because I don't have it in my phone at all. Rob?
Neither do I, actually. It won't show up.
So with
Robbie.
Neo, I have to say, in order to have that word come up in your autocorrect, you have to first add that word into your dictionary. And just for fun, on my iPhone, I decided to type in nuggers, and the autocorrect came up with nuggets.
Correct.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but it did come back on the iDevice with nuggets. So it is a proper autocorrect. And to me, it's just kind of funny that we've got jazz and the word together. So I don't know if these are expressions that he uses commonly, if it just accepted it because they were capitalized words, but it's not an autocorrect thing. If anything, it's subliminal. And if you're not verifying what you are posting for the world to see, if that's part of your job and you're not triple checking what you're putting out to the world, you're an idiot. It's I really no, I'm calling it for what it is. He absolutely has, it's part of his vernacular. If it came out from his fingertips, it's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
And Rob raised a good, what happened to just checking what you send out? Like, and you guys know me, I'm not one for social media. So do you just type and then send without checking? Like, does that happen?
I will admit to several mistakes, but I probably have made some mistakes. Yep. But I've never made that one because it's not in my autocorrect dictionary.
And it always keeps coming back to the same mistake towards the same group of people.
Yeah, true.
You do the same word, the same group of people over and over and over again. And that's where I'm just like, this is kind of suspect. And again, I'm not trying to assign anything to Mr. Falk except what he gave us. So that's all we can judge him on. But I'm just like, I have never in my life mistakenly used the N-word. Ever. So,
fuck him.
Are we? How you spelling that, bruh? I say 10.
That's how you spell his name. Fuck. Hey. Wait, that's the thing, right? Fuck him. Fuck.
You're close.
Fuck him.
We can say fuck him. When we want to not curse, we can say fuck him.
Okay. All right.
Fuck him. All right. Let me get some of these comments online real quick. Rob B, don't get beat up on the show. Bon Perry. Mike Winter said, mine autocorrects away from stuff. I mean to say usually. He had to add Bama to the dictionary. Z was talking about just playing devil's advocate. I know my pet name from my husband isn't coming up automatically on your phones. What's your pet name? I need to know what the pet name is. We're going to have to ask on Sunday.
On Sunday.
All right, guys, that's it for our hot topics. Great discussion as always. Stick around. We always have fun with our game show, Shenanigans game show. All right, for today's show, it's going to be quick and dirty. East, you got the scoreboard? I meant to ask you earlier.
I have it. Just for the 3 players, right?
Yep, just for the 3. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. I am actually going to be the judge. So I'll display a simple phrase like weird place to be nude. Then the app will reveal a random letter, like the letter A. Then you'll give a response to the phrase that starts with the letter revealed. So you might say, any examples? Weird place to be nude?
Acton, Maryland.
That's a pretty weird place to be nude. All right. The person with the most creative answer and the fastest gets the point. And I will be the judge. I might look for help from people online, but mostly me.
I think that scoreboard says Neo instead of East.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's all right. You play for me. Play for me if you play for me, East. we all know it's East. All right, you ready, guys? We got to run through this. You ready? All right. Next, A celebrity you'd bang. Jackson said Anacostia for the last one. D, starting with letter D. Creative.
Denzel Washington.
Anybody else?
Dracula's sister?
East?
I don't know.
All right, I'm going with Dracula's sister. All right. Everybody's banging Denzel, so.
Honestly, that's true. That's actually true. So yeah, that was clear for my part.
All right. Somewhere you find STDs. I think we had this one before. It's a different letter though.
Oh God.
Ooh.
E, starting with letter E. Who said just Dracula? Jose Hot was like, or just Dracula. Yeah, Rob, you'll be banging Dracula.
It's gonna be a weird night, folks.
Come on, where do you find STDs? Come on, just say a letter E word. Good gracious, guys.
Election center.
Okay.
Eastern Avenue.
Eastern Avenue. All right, we're going with Eastern Avenue. This is taking too long.
Anything.
You're taking too long. All right, next one. Fun place to make out. Starting with the letter, let's see. J.
Jehovah Witness Hall.
Oh, okay. That shut it down.
I gotta say Joe's car.
Joe's car? I like that one.
Yeah.
Now, I'm okay with Jehovah with that.
Okay, so we're going. So you just giving the point to. Okay. All right. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. All right. Best word to describe Trump.
Oh, damn.
Starting with the letter W.
White.
Winner.
Weirdo.
Okay, I'll go with white. Lizzie gets out.
Hey, come on, man.
Weirdo was good, but I'm going with white. All right.
Okay.
All right, bad time for a boner.
Oh, God.
Starting with the letter B. I like whack, wimp. Those are good, Kevin. Yeah. Ernest.
Bad time for a boner, Bed Bath and Beyond.
That is a bad time.
Boxing match.
Okay. Come on, Lizzie, what you got? Like I said, waste for Trump.
Barack Obama's house.
I'm going with East on that one. All right.
What? Michelle would knock me out. What are you talking about? Michelle would knock me out.
All right. How are we on the score? I don't even know who has a score. Okay, it's 2-2. Our first 1-3. We gotta close shut it down. So first 1-3. Let's go. Sorry. Best word to describe Joe Biden.
Lord Jesus.
Starting with Q.
Queer.
Quintessential.
East.
Queer.
When the PA.
Okay, quintessential is it. All right. Robbie gets the point. All right, so whoever gets this next one wins. Things you do after sex, starting with L.
Laugh.
Is that what you do? I like Quack. Von Perry. I would have gone with Quack or you, Von Perry, for Trump. Or for the last, yeah. For the last one. All right. Things you do after sex.
I got to give it to Liz. That was
okay.
Good.
All right. Lizzie gets down. So Lizzie wins again. Is that like 3 in a row, Liz?
2 in a row.
I think it's 3. I think you had 3. Oh, no, I think Jam won 1. Okay, you're right. Well, good job, guys. Good job. Good game. Good game. All right. So just before we go, let's get some shout outs. All right, Lizzie.
Shout out to Kamala Harris this evening, Barack Obama. We have already missed the beginning of the Democratic National Convention for this evening.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to
hit it out of the park again tonight. So shout out to our party.
All right, and we'll do a watch party as soon as the show is over. So make sure you join the watch party, guys. All right, Robbie.
Special shout out to my mom who tuned in this evening. So she got that Facebook link figured out. Very happy that she tuned in.
Hey,
and
Mom.
A special shout out to the lady in the next room. We decided to try some pickling today for the first time. So we've got all of our cucumbers from our garden and we're pickling. We'll see how they taste.
All right, East.
I think my wife, my kids, you might have seen me talking with the mute button on. I was speaking.
I did.
Try to regulate some things behind the camera.
Well done.
Paying attention.
Well done. We barely noticed. All right, my shout out goes out to my dad. My dad was on this show, last show, so he's looks like he's starting to make it every show. So my dad, Ephraim, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. So I appreciate you watching. All right, so that's our show. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We hope you had a good time, maybe learned something or gained a new perspective. I'd like to definitely thank Olympian David Oliver for joining us. It was an excellent interview. We'll post the clip online if you need to rewatch it or if you missed any part of it. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe at TLS Live Show and www.tlslive.show. Remember, Lizzie keeps that Facebook popping, so you got to keep checking that out. Make sure you follow us there. On Sunday, we'll have Z back in the mix with us, with Jam, Lizzie, and myself, and we should have another special guest. Check out our Facebook page for updates. Again, live 4 p.m. Sunday. Lizzie, congratulations on winning again. You have the final thought for the day.
Everyone, leave our show, go to our Facebook page and watch our live stream for the Democratic National Convention this evening. We got a boost up Barack and the VP nominee, Kamala Harris.
Great job, guys. Great show. Again, thank you, David, for joining us. See you later, guys.